16th to win the Waste No More ballot measure, because one of two things happens.
What do you mean win? Yeah, sorry.
The city made the change. They made all these things, right? And I'm like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. We put the ballot measure on, and we get the win in getting diversion, in the county.
Yeah.
Since Denver voted as citizens, Aspen, Fort Collins, other communities are growing their diversion. Mm-hmm. And mandatory restaurants, no exemptions, no carve-outs, right? And literally like block by block pickup stations, so that all the restaurants put it in the same bin, right?
Fine.
And you don't have to have 6 restaurants paying for 6 diversion bins, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, today though, the city of Denver did pay, if anybody's here yet, for a bunch of different defendants, but we'll get to that in a minute. You, Councilman, you were in the city and county of Denver at the Capitol during some of the violence of George Floyd. And was it 2020 now? Mm-hmm. 5 years it took. 5 years it took. Of course, the George Floyd protests lasted nearly a year, 280 days. Elijah McClain, who lost his life in Aurora, part of that whole process. Aurora has modified its police department regulations. They've significantly made some changes in holding police accountability as a real issue in Aurora, Colorado. But while we make these payments, the comments were said earlier during council that the police department doesn't lose any money out of their budget. It's the taxpayers who pay. And you made a very powerful statement that moves me. And you're not my council representative, but you are the council representative of downtown Denver, where the protests at the Capitol happened. And you said something that was very moving, because it was less than 48 hours of protesting before the National Guard was called in by the President of the United States. Do you think that should be allowed in Denver?
No, of course not. I mean, we're not the same as the president. The president has a different kind of thought process. I don't know exactly what, I can't speak for him. He's a very interesting fellow who seems to make decisions based on which way the wind blows. But no, I mean, certainly we all have the right to our First Amendment rights. We have the right to protest. We have the right to free speech. That's not relegated to one class of individuals. It's not white male landowners like it was nearly 250 years ago. This is anyone, even if you're not a citizen. Of course, David Puerto is a citizen, is the president of SEIU California. Really, as much as that is great for him, and he's an area of influence, it doesn't matter. You should have to have his First Amendment rights to make protest. And so, back to your question, I'm very concerned that we would have something like that here. So,
Jeanette's in jail.
Yeah.
Right, for those of you who don't know, Jeanette Visquera, you've been at events and rallies.
Yeah. I met her at the church when she was sequestered.
Yes.
To put it very kindly.
Yeah, no, I mean, sanctuary. That's what she was seeking, was sanctuary in a church in your district.
Yep.
During the first Trump administration. Things have escalated quite differently, haven't they?
Yeah, it's crazy to think that we've only had this administration since January 20th. I mean, it's just like the amount of changes, the amount of people fired from the federal government, agencies disbanded, USAID gone. I mean, it's very concerning.
Dude, USAID, that's Colorado firefighter, debris mitigation, like college students on their way, people on their way to pathways, maybe not college right away, but doing something and getting experiences and a worldview. Yeah. That's kids from all over that come to our mountains and help prevent forest fires. Yeah. Amongst other things.
USAID is all over the world too.
But USAID is. Yeah, no.
It's not just Colorado.
It's not just Colorado, but that's the local thing, wasn't it? That they announced that they didn't even get this year's money when they thought they had it on the books.
Yeah, well, I mean, just in the 4 months it's been.
4 months.
Yeah, I mean, we've been given federal grants with the last administration. We did the work. All we were doing is waiting on the paycheck, and then this administration said, "Yeah, we're not going to pay." So we're trying to figure that out too. So yeah, I mean
Damn.
it's very concerning, just the callous disregard for convention, the way that we've done things in the past, from president to president to president, and then this one is just like whatever.
No, and I can appreciate that because part of today's proclamation and the process was like, not only do we have to move fast and approve this, but we have to pay this because there's a court hearing coming up, and if the lawyers have to go back into the courtroom, the settlement it costs you even more money. So unfortunately, unlike the city and county of Denver getting paid by the federal government, I'm guaranteed a fast and timely payment for the debts owed to me, or agreed upon in this case. You can't say all that, but I can. You could talk about the federal government and the debts, right? But that's the way it works, and it's crazy because it's been so many years, the civil rights movement, since the National Guard was called, and I saw some videos of people proclaiming that they were in their cars in normal day-to-day moving of traffic when the guard approached them, or when the whole ICE raid happened in the middle of where they were moving through. And while they were waiting in their cars, canisters were fired into their traffic. Just normal everyday citizens going about their daily lives.
Just in LA?
Yeah. Well, the correlation for me is that it's who starts the real destruction that happens. It's often commonplace in communities around the country that it's a reaction to violence on the general public that causes these things to happen. And so I don't want to see my city burn. I want to come up for gatherings and events, and I want to protest with free speech, but I also don't want to see a train car of humans heading down the highway on the tracks going to another country because,
I'm sorry, they're transporting on a train though too?
They used to.
Oh, I thought you were like today.
No.
Like some people were getting deported.
No, but back in the day, train was the transportation mode, right?
Yeah.
So, at the numbers that they're calling for, it could be trainloads of people. And also, it's a reference to other things that have happened in the past because the Jews from the Holocaust.
People with disabilities.
They were people with disabilities. LGBTQIA people were all transported by train to their death sentences.
Yeah, 250,000 people with disabilities were sent to the fires in 1 year, and they speculate that the number is actually quite a bit higher, but it's because they stopped once the war was over. They kept doing it for the disability community.
Right. Oh, no way.
And so they don't know. Like they would say, "Oh, we're gonna take your son or daughter to camp," and at some point later, they would get their child's ashes in the mail. So they believe it was actually quite a bit higher number than but officially on the rolls while the war was happening, it was 250,000 people with disabilities.
And I know that while that war was happening, the LGBTQIA, when everybody else was getting rid of us, they got kept in the camps as well.
Yep. Yeah. That's, I mean, disability community is not the only one that's certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, Councilman, I gotta get outside to my mutual aid meal because, co-founder Mutual Aid Mondays.
Yeah.
While you all sitting here, we're feeding outside. So I gotta go enjoy that. And I'm gonna switch my camera. I think we're gonna take the flights, the stairs down. Not to rub anything in, because I'm not trying to.
No, you're good.
But I like walking out the front door at the big doors and walking down the stairs. There's a power move in that sometimes. It feels good.
I guess I'm powerless.
No. I didn't mean it like that. So here's the deal. I was on lobby day at the Colorado State Capitol, and I walked out into a 50-51 protest that was happening at whatever time of day it was. And I walked out through the West Capitol steps, which, not everybody gets to do.
Yeah.
And all my people that had awnings set up outside and were on the corner, they saw me coming down the stairs. And they're like, wow, that was cool. So, yeah.
Well,
have a great day.
So he's gotta do it again.
I'm gonna get my live stream going. There's nobody here, and that's okay. It's for fun today. Waste no more. I'll forward you the email as well and make sure that all the committee members get it. I should have done that. I just kind of stuck.
Has it already gone through committee?
No, it's stuck in committee. We won that. So what happened was, like, I actually, like, gamed my butt off. And
Is it coming back this week?
July 16th. Listen, when the Colorado Restaurant Association is first pushing for a first of its kind ever diversion based on your profitability, not the volume of waste you create, like, I gotta stop that. You know, we can't allow that.
I got an email, is it today or over the weekend from them? They want exemption. It's like, no one's considering exempting large scale.
Yeah, why do they want exemption?
It's expensive. They're afraid
No.
that they can't implement it. I don't know.
I mean, listen, if they're gonna take money from Adolf Coors at Pride, they should just use it for diversion activities. There's a stab in there somewhere. Because the Adolf Coors Foundation supports the Heritage Foundation, or has made financial donations to them. Anyway, listen. I want to get this out there because if you're getting that communication, then let's set it up. The point of Waste No More is to talk about diversion practices and how to make it easier. And we could work to
And divert. Not just talk, but actually divert.
and divert. But it starts with the conversation.
Yeah.
And I train the class. So if you have people you're concerned, hey, we have a course for you to take that's absolutely free and partners that are going to help you and walk you through the process.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's what I get paid to do. Yeah, let's get Green Latino's name on Pride because we're diverting. Let's do that. I'll do that.
Okay.
All right. Have a great day. Good afternoon, boys and girls, friends and lovers, children of all ages. Yours truly, the one and only Cut the Plastic. 5 years after the dates, we are walking down the halls of justice today, leaving the Colorado State Capitol. No, today we are leaving City Hall, the City and County building. We're going to take a walk up the front steps. Today, the City and County approved the second of 2 settlements in a 30-day time frame. 4 injustices done to yours truly and other members of the press for the gassings that occurred on the other side of the property here at the Capitol building, on and around the entirety of the first 5 days of George Floyd protests, and for breaking my phone. There's a lot more to be said about things. There's a whole bunch of things to be said about these things. Because our beautiful, beautiful capital, well, it turned into a war zone just like LA did yesterday and the day before, when the police start gassing and assaulting the citizenry. Look at that. That's a picture of Mayor Mike Johnston right there. Right there. That's Mike. He's going to be signing that check over, authorization to cut a check over. America, land of the free, home of the brave. And we are having fun. Let's see who's in here. Bruce, Jesse, Chris Powers. Fun is good, yes. So here's the deal. Not all the defendants got through. Not all the lawyers gave it all their go. Maybe, allegedly. But the deal is a little over $300,000 was authorized today. That $300,000 brings the city to over $5 million. Over $5 million with my case. Oh yeah. This is a case that I brought the community together. The attorney, here's the people you need to look at, right? Silent citizen, a newspaper staff and organization, the yellow scene out of Boulder covering the protests. And Ghost Rider is getting a check. Not everybody, unfortunately. But those are some of the names you know. Oh, and you know who else is part of that case? Otto the Watchdog. Yes, Otto the Watchdog is also part of that case. And so for those of you, in the community, today's a good day. And I started with a long-ass conversation that I didn't get to cover properly. I was covering with the city council representatives and others. And when I leave this building, we're going to walk into Mutual Aid Monday, the community meal that I helped found that is part of the daily, weekly operations here in the city and county of Denver, because our council and our mayors have to be reminded that all humans are valuable, that there's a situation today where people are dying in the streets. They're dying in Gaza. They're languishing in cages in the United States where bread and water are your meal. And that bread and water is insufficient nourishment for people who are not convicted guilty of a crime that just being picked up, right? Nationally, the SEIU president, service industry of service workers, the people who clean your toilets, that clean your garbage cans. Yeah, their president of the union was arrested. First one to be released that I know of on a bond, $50,000 cash bond, probably, something like that. Whatever, that's what I heard. It was in council. Anywho, 5 years later, since the gassings and the bombings of all the crazy crap of George Floyd, I came back to the Capitol. I got my press helmet. I got my sage. We're going to go back outside City Hall. We're going to burn some sage. We're going to pray for the people. We're going to enjoy a little bit. But I think I'm going to jump off this thread. No, I can always edit later. Why not? Like the bolo, I'm starting to become a jewelry guy. I don't know why. I love the ties. Get a ring too. Working hard, saving up. Not a lot, just a little bit, a couple pieces. Gotta look professional. So, so what happened was, the first night of George Floyd, you might have seen the videos, I ran backwards. Not backwards, I got shot, gas, I was front of the line. But we went back to the line with my tripod. I remember my words clear as day. You dumb motherfuckers, I'm a member of the press. Can't you see my camera? $135,000 later, you see my camera. Now, this, my friends, is what we call Monday Mutual Aid. This is the largest distribution of clothes, food, community mental health support in the city and county of Denver. The only community group that does better is my Sunday kitchen. But we don't set up awnings like this because we ain't get all that shade. But it's beautiful. How's it going? Doing good. Just getting done with a joyous little council hearing where the assaults of George Floyd payouts to the citizenry have just overcome the $5 million mark to show the pride and joy that is Mutual Aid Monday. Thank you for being here. Love it. So this is it. This is my community, folks. And I'm just gonna shine on it for a second. I'm gonna go offline. I'm gonna come back on a little bit and talk at George Floyd. I mean at not George Floyd. Talk at Jeanette's session today. What's going on, man?
How you doing, boss?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good.
I see you got something to drink already. How's the round? Oh, you're using the same water bottle over and over.
Yeah.
What if I got you a real one?
No, don't do that. This is fine. Don't do that. This is fine.
Because a real one would keep your water cold. It'd be safer. Because it breaks down. The water gets bad after a while.
It's gonna get. You're gonna check it.
I'll get you a used one.
No.
No? All right. Enjoy breakfast or dinner today. I'm usually at breakfast. Bless you. Thank you. I got a court settlement today. Morning, afternoon. All right, folks. I'm gonna come back at this later. I gotta say hi. Get off camera for a little bit. Hey, what's going on, man? Let me shut this thing off. Because I got too much going on at once.